Good morning, treasurers. This is your host Parthesh Shah, co-founder of Fintech, and you are listening to Night Snippets. Here is all what you need to know before going into trade for 16th April 2021. In the international market, treasury prices gained early Thursday and yields pulled back even after a pair of reports on the US economy came in much stronger than expected. Good news number one, retail sales rose 9.8 percentage points in March, beating economists' already optimistic forecasts. Good news number two, initial claims for unemployment insurance were lower than expected. Now, even after this positive news on the economy, US 10-year yields fell. Market experts said the bond market was beginning to price in a peak for economic growth, expected to be as much as 10% this quarter. Another news is Japanese players buying in treasury, which they had sold off in March 31st quarter due to profit booking, are buying it back as it is lucrative in a negative interest rate country. Remember, many months back we had propelled the idea of Japanese interest. That is coming true now. With renewed interest in US Treasury from global investors, US 10-year closed 8 basis points lower at 156 and 30-year closed 9 basis points lower at 2.23 percentage points on Thursday. One more interesting thing, China reported its economy grew at 18.3% in the first quarter, slightly missing the expectations. In the crude oil market, crude is trading at $66.94 per barrel. Short-term range for crude seems to be 65 to 67. As you know our night's position, we are long crude at $60 per barrel, still holding long with approx 11% gain. In the currency market, dollar index or DXY is at 91.78. DXY has a good support at 91.30, which it will try to touch. DXY's today's range seems to be 91.53 to 92.08. USD CNY or Chinese yuan is at 653. USD INR with a high of 75.33 closed at 74.93. Please note that the USD INR close was below 75, and as we said yesterday, 74.70 looks possible on charts now. USD INR's range for today seems to be 74.80 to 75.15. As far as support and resistances are concerned, support for USD INR stands at 74.80 and resistance at 75.40. But beware of any adverse price actions as structural weakness in the USD INR still persists, which may materialize in few weeks, taking USD INR to 75.50 levels. In the domestic market, WPI inflation in March rose to 7.39 percentage points from 4.17 percentage points in February. We at Night Research were expecting 620-640 range, but 739 was way above our expectations. Nothing much to be inferred from this data as last year's skewness in data is still prevailing, and we shall be able to see a clear picture in June 2021 on inflation. Indian government bond prices fell sharply as a result of RBI's GSEP 1.0 disappointed market participants. In yesterday's GSEP 1.0 auction, the cutoffs were as below: 448 GS 2023 at 455, 515 2025 at 556, 679 2027 at 613, 585 2030 at 603. Much larger disappointment here. 622 2035 at 661. With the above cutoffs, 515 2025 closed at 564 versus 559 the previous trading day. 585 2030 closed at 612 versus 601 the previous trading day. Remember, in our yesterday's podcast, we had mentioned exactly the same scenario. If RBI accepts 585 2030 with very little amount or above 603, the benchmark will move towards 603 to 608 range. The Indian 10-year benchmark closed yesterday at 612, 11 basis point rise in a single day. Didn't we warn you of this possibility yesterday itself? It is a reality today. April 15th, 2021 SDL auction analysis, 10-year Rajasthan at 678, Meghalaya at 682, 12-year JNK at 678. Inference, we are looking at the bottom of SDL yields for now. We strongly advise our clients to get out of SDLs as soon as possible at 675-680 levels. There is a 26,000 crore weekly GSEC auction scheduled today. All eyes will be on the underwriting fees by the primary dealers to underwrite the bonds up for the auction today. Night research will be available with expected cutoffs by 10:40 am. We advise our clients to stay out of today's auction as well as RBI, as RBI may devolve again and we may see higher secondary sales by PDs. That's it for today. You were listening to Night Snippets with Parthesh Shah, co-founder of Night Fintech. See you next week with the new episode of Night Snippets.